Kelly sat down with her head in her hands, making sure she could no longer see the eerily dancing shadows created by the candle on the kitchen table. They never did waste much time between the lottery and the banishing. Perhaps that's for the best, Kelly thought. If I had a lot of time to think about this, perhaps I'd be less likely to cooperate. Of course, she still wasn't willing to accept her fate. No, she had other plans. After dusk, she would be left on the shores of the Northern Sea, tied up to the strong wooden post erected solely for this purpose, until the giants claimed her. Perhaps they wouldn't like her. Perhaps they'd leave her behind, demanding a prettier, daintier candidate. Kelly could only hope as much. Or perhaps her ties would be loose enough to wiggle free, allowing her to run before the giants even arrived. Ever since her mother passed when she was only 8 years old, she hadn't felt this alone in the world. Her father had betrayed her. He was meant to keep her safe. Those were her mother's last words. "Keep Kelly and Ferris from harm. Swear it to me." Instead, what had happened under the watchful eye of their father? She'd been chosen in the lottery. "It's an honor," he had said. "Your sacrifice ensures the safety of our people for the next 8 summers." Kelly was to be made into a prisoner and slave, never to be seen again by her people, all of whom were just pleased none of their own daughters were chosen. She'd never gotten along with most of the villagers, most of whom took great pleasure in pointing out that her mother's death was God's punishment or other such nonsense. Kelly wasn't ladylike enough, apparently. As a child, she'd played with the boys out in the field rather than stayed at home and helped with the housework. If that was sinful enough to warrant her own mother's death, then she wanted nothing to do with such a god or the feeble-minded people who believed in him. Of course, she could never have said that aloud, or they would have branded her a witch and punished her. So she had kept these thoughts to herself all these years, and yet she was chosen to protect those same people. Oh, the irony. She would love to see their faces when they realized that they'd be held to pay for her upcoming escape. All those years playing with the boys would pay off. Now that she'd reached a full 18 years of age, Kelly wasn't half as weak as most girls she'd grown up with. A horn blew in the distance, signalling that her wait was over. It was time. Her father opened the kitchen door, his weather-beaten face tense, the only indication so far that he even cared what happened to her. An honor. What a joke. He'd get over the loss of his firstborn daughter soon enough. At least he still had a son to focus on. Ferris would miss her the most. 2 years younger than she was, he'd always looked up to his big sister with admiration rather than the disdain others had shown her. She had been there for him more like a mother than a sibling, making sure there was food to eat, clothes to wear, even toys to play with. Their father had never realized that he had been suffering the most after their mother had passed, while father had stuck to his same old routine, heading off to the tavern after nightfall as though nothing had ever changed. She had been there for Ferris. Yes, Ferris would come looking for her as soon as he realized what had happened. Father had conveniently sent him off on some merchant ship as a deckhand only weeks before the lottery, as if he'd known what would happen. "Kelly, our fate lies in your hands." Her father waved Kelly forward with an outstretched arm. She hesitated for a moment, but took a deep breath and finally got up. "Yes, father." "Mother, I wish you were here." Kelly swallowed hard. "Come in," father called out. A group of villagers made their way inside the cramped little kitchen. They surrounded Kelly, who had already assumed the position expected of her. Her arms were crossed behind her back, ready to be tied. They wouldn't take any chances because in the heat of panic many an offering had attempted to flee in the past.